FCT, Yisom Wike, is never far away from the hits. The meeting he had with the Israeli ambassador to Nigeria is generating such hits, but Wike has clarified issues on the meeting, saying it's centered on how FCT can partner Israel to develop its agriculture and not diplomatic relations. The minister said he has no constitutional powers to determine Nigeria's diplomatic relations with other countries. This one, Wiki.
Yes, I think that it is what some clerics have been saying that actually stirred this controversy, and it's always better to take one's time to look at issues critically before commenting. The cleric most famous for fraternizing with bandits was the one who brought up this matter that, oh, Wike is making friends with Israel, you know, Wike is backing Israel over Palestine and all that. The truth is, Wike's meeting with the Israeli ambassador happened on the 3rd of October. Hamas did not attack Israel until the 7th of October. So the meeting preceded the attack. So the issue of, oh, is backing Israel against Palestine does not occur because the meeting had been held even before the attack. So it's not a question of, oh, Israel is looking for support, Wike has gone to give them support. It doesn't. As who? It doesn't add up.
That's the question I keep asking.
Because the meeting had taken place before even the attack. That's what most people don't know. Because this cleric, of course, everyone knows that he does not like the ruling party. He's always been an Atiku supporter, for example. Okay. That's Sheikh Gumi. It's not something that he can hide. His antecedents show that he does not like the ruling party. Yes, he's free to support any party of his choice, but don't twist facts. Wike had this meeting long before the attack on Israel by Hamas.
And Wike cannot determine the
Nigerian point that he's making is just a minister. If some foreign body, that's his explanation, if some foreign body comes to Nigeria and they want to do some things in the Federal Capital Territory, the foreign minister, our foreign affairs minister, would inform him. Because that position that he's occupying it on behalf of the president. The president can delegate duties to him, you know. So it's the minister that will tell him. He cannot even on his own go and interface with them directly. That's not the structure. And so those people want to do some business with FCT. They want to partner with the FCT in the area of agri. Everyone knows that Israel is one of the best in the world when it comes to agriculture. Israel, Denmark, these are small countries but very strong in the area of agriculture. You've seen the miracle that the Israelis have done in the desert in their country. So they want to partner, and Wike believes that, look, if we partner with them, we'll be able to get more jobs for our people, and more revenue will be earned. Secondly, they are very strong in the area of information technology, and the Wike administration is already thinking of setting up a tech village in Abuja there. So there are many things that they can do with the Israelis. In any case, Nigeria has a long-standing diplomatic relationship with Israel, which the military president, IBB, restored on May 4, 1992. Before then, we didn't have relationship with them. In fact, two traditional rulers were queried for traveling to Israel, the emir of Kano and the Oni of Ife, back then in 1984. You know? So I do not see the need for this head booting. Israel is a state that Nigeria has diplomatic relations with. So if a minister meets with them, it does not mean that that minister is supporting Israel against Palestine. And the fact has to be stated that the attack happened long after that meeting. So it's not a question of, oh, Israel is on the ropes and Wike is offering support. So people should
in Nigeria, if you are not well enlightened, it will be easy to sway you with, fake news, talks that are not even reasonable. Yeah. For this now, FCT minister, what will his support to the Israeli ambassador amount to?
Well, you and I can assume that. But the danger of
misinformation,
or wrong narrative is very dangerous. And whoever is handling media for Wike has not done a good job. There are things you can dismiss, not when it comes to religion, and when it comes to Abuja. These are tinder boxes that could lighten up at any time. Already there are grumblings underneath that Wike was made minister of FCT. There are people waiting in certain parts of the country to see him fail. Incidentally, Wike himself, who is a friend of mine, talks his mind. He's not a diplomat. So there are things that he will say that can be twisted, whether we like it or not. So whoever is handling the media for the minister, let me tell him now, they are what they call the red spots that you do not ignore. That common sense will avail. Common sense does not avail when it comes to religion or tribe. You cannot use logic to win that battle. You must be proactive. Because I expect the moment Gumi said what he said, I told somebody, I said, Wike must react between that day and Friday. Because they are going to take it to the mosque. Quoting Gumi in certain mosque in Abuja. And that's what happened. Some people will like it, some people will just take the story and run with it. There was nobody to give them an alternative explanation to create that differential. Things can be done, like I said, for other areas. Football, intermedia relationship. But when it comes to religion, especially in the north, and it comes to tribe, it's not something you just ignore, it will sort itself out. So that's number one. Number two, it does not make any sense that anybody will believe that a minister will have the power to determine our foreign policy. It's beyond his brief in any shape or form. Not even the Minister for External Affairs can do that. Only the President in Council can determine the policy of Nigeria when it comes to things of this nature. But again, the fear I'm expressing is that people are ready to light matches to any little fire they can get to set the country ablaze. And that to me is what we need to quickly work at.
Just the way some were saying they wanted to demolish
the Central Mosque.
Central Mosque. Meanwhile, there's nothing like
nothing
that.
Like that.
There's nothing like that.
You see, the Central Mosque
is just a piece of land, a piece of land belonging to the mosque was what he asked for, and he's prepared to even compensate them, so that losing that portion of land to infrastructure, he's prepared to compensate them. Yeah. But they twisted it to mean that he wanted to, and Wike has come out to say that, look, I have no plan. Who is the person, says somebody demented, that will go to this mosque in Abuja, the national mosque? Is a national treasure of our country, Just like the Ecumenical Center is a national treasure of our country, and say that I want to go and demolish part of it. Nobody will do that.
Very beautiful sight.
So those are even fundamental.
People must also realize that, look, FCT belongs to all Nigerians, and anybody can be minister of FCT. Wike is the first Southerner to be FCT minister. Substantive minister. In the past, somebody was minister of special duties, and they told him, look, supervise FCT for us. That's why some fellow argue with me that that's not true. I say, it's you who does not know.
This
is the first Southerner to be FCT minister.
Yeah.
So if someone was special duties minister, that's his portfolio.
Overseeing FCT.
But he was told to oversee the FCT. But a substantive minister of FCT, Wike is the first Southerner. And anybody can be minister, whether it's from the north or from the south. We should stop thinking that, somebody cannot be. Because I've seen some clerics to say that, look, why did this government do this to us? Why should FCT? No, And that is wrong. And I expect some of our friends, our enlightened friends, to educate people going around with these divisive arguments that are pointless. They should stop it.
All right. Kogi State, north central Nigeria, is becoming a house of commotion over assassination attempts. In the run to the state governorship election on the 14th of November, Governor Yahaya Bello has denied claims of an assassination attempt on his life, as reported in some quarters on Sunday. Debunking the claim, the governor said what happened was a minor fracas between the military and the police attached to his convoy, which was resolved within 5 minutes. Let's hear from the governor.
Thereafter, I began to hear in the social media about assassination attempt. I want to state categorically very clear, dear Nigerians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that there was no assassination attempt on me, Yahaya Bello, the executive governor of Kogi State, by the military or by anybody. Between Kogi State and FCT, it is a secured route. Thanks be to God Almighty and members of the military, the Nigerian police, the DSS, the Navy, the civil defense, the vigilantes, and the professional hunters, and all the citizens of our dear state. We have been able to secure that route, courtesy these various agencies and bodies that I enumerated. So, nobody would have attempted to assassinate me or anybody in my convoy.
I needed something, we go ginger me. We tom I dey breathe for it now, I dey run kilo me. That's why I dey come with
TerraQ, unwrap joy, unleash taste.
The politics heated in Kogi State, run up to this election. I remember 4 years ago, it was something like this. And we are close to another election. And there was a press release that was released around after 4 yesterday. And around after 11, I saw a counter press release from the governor. What is happening?
This one has absolutely nothing to do with politics. Yes, there may be tension as we move closer and closer to D-Day, but this has nothing to do with politics. It's just a case of undisciplined security operatives on both sides, on the side of the governor and on the side of the joint security personnel on the Abuja-Lokoja highway. The incident, the first incident, happened around Natako, where the sweeper convoy of the governor usually moves. It's always about 5 minutes ahead of the governor. When he got to the checkpoint, there's a bad portion of the road. So one of the naval personnel, they now said, tell your governor to come and fix this road instead of packing money up and down. First and foremost, that is not a Kogi state road, it's a federal road. Kogi and Niger State have some of the worst federal roads in our country. Some of the worst network of federal roads in our country. I remember that this Governor Bello had a quarrel with the former Minister of Works over the state of Ganaja Road. So that is that. No governor will be happy to see federal road, in such a bad state, especially when he uses it from time. Governor Bello doesn't travel by air within Nigeria. He goes by road. Anyway, no matter how far the place is, he will go by road. So he uses the road more than any Nigerian governor. I know that. So when he said that, of course, the governor's security people were angry and they confronted him. That was the beginning, that was the first incident. Then as they moved on, the governor saw the sweeper convoy at that location and he tried to find out what was amiss, but they resolved it and moved on. But by the time they got to the front, around Kwali or so, the security men had informed their colleagues that one of their men was molested. So they then said, okay, we are not going to let the governor's convoy pass unless he surrenders the person who molested their colleague. That's why I said, in the first place, how you can think as soldiers that you can stop the convoy of a governor. It is the height of irresponsibility.
Discipline.
For which, except someone like Governor Bello intervenes, those people will lose their jobs. It is the height of irresponsibility to stop the convoy of a governor, no matter the situation. What are you doing on the road? Why would you try to stop a convoy? The governor had to call the chief of army staff. You can imagine how bad that was. It's indiscipline. Yes, I blame the governor's people that, yes, they probably overreacted, but it does not mean that you should then go and wait for the governor far away and then say you are blocking convoy. To what end? Somebody that you know has access to Aso Rock, has access to your bosses. You want to block his convoy. So at the end of the day, see what has happened. This was what happened. Now the commissioner went and issued a statement about an incident that I did not witness. How do you explain that? I don't want to criticize him on this forum because they will twist it. But there is no reason, even if you issue a statement, you should have shared it with your governor to say, oh, I've issued this statement. What do you think, sir? The governor can, by himself, authorize it. Because it was a complete antithesis of what happened. It's completely antithetical to what happened. Nobody wanted to take the governor's life. Who now? You want to kill a white lion. For what? Nobody will attempt, you know the kind of security, and that's why people were asking that, who would attempt this in broad daylight? So it's completely untrue that they wanted to take his life or something. No, nobody wants to take his life. Nobody wanted to take his life. It's just that press statement that wrong-footed our people, misled our people. Today, the matter is being resolved. If the governor is magnanimous, he will step in and plead on behalf of those soldiers because their conduct, I don't know how they can defend their conduct before their bosses to stop, because they caused what happened. You shouldn't have stopped this convoy. The governor had to come down to say, gentlemen, what's going on? And then when he saw that, okay, this is what these guys are intent on doing, he then called the chief of army staff, who ordered that the they should leave the road. Soldiers are responsible to superior authority. They must demonstrate discipline at all times. And Governor Yabelo, being somebody who has always been interested in security, he enjoys a good relationship with the military and the other armed forces. So this kind of thing, I'm even disappointed that it can happen. But it has happened. I just want to appeal to the governor to step in and ensure that, okay, these guys, they've made a mistake, they should be forgiven. We don't even have enough of them. So people make mistakes. They made mistakes. He should please accept, agree to forgive these guys, because already now they are repentant. At least I can confirm that.
Our job is a very difficult job.
Yeah.
Because in one breath, something is coming from the states, another one coming from the governor. And if you are not editor yesterday, you'd have looked at what is happening.
Maybe sometimes it's best to just be a little patient. The problem with us in the media is that we are not patient enough. Everyone wants to get to town, run to town, with something. And that's why I always say that your correspondent, where you have a correspondent, you should trust that correspondent over and above everybody. What have you seen? Is this the accurate summation of what happened? If your own reporter misleads you, he knows that there will be a problem for misleading you. But when you get misled by outside forces, it is very painful. It is. That's what, for me, all my years as a media manager, that's what I hate to see. For somebody to be out there misleading me, where I have gatekeepers, I have reporters who can help me to ascertain the real truth. It's not, do you know how many Nigerian publications were misled yesterday? In future, when this sort of thing happens again, everybody will think, no, it's not true. It's like the proverbial crying wolf when there is none. You know, on the day the wolves now came, nobody was there to help.
The boy who shouted
because you had misled people in the past.
A lot of media houses go.
Yes.
I'm just saying this this part of your own story. I'm just saying this.
That's what happened.
No, it's unfortunate.
That's what happened, because I called the governor to say what happened, sir. Beyond even the Facebook Live that he did, I called him to say, tell me, sir, what happened?
It's unfortunate, but it goes to show that our gatekeeping skills are tested once in a while, because the commissioner was, in his own judgment, doing his job, but he didn't get clearance, and now he has to bear the consequences. But again, the law of journalism is very clear. When in doubt, leave out.
I think he misinterpreted the fracas. He misinterpreted the fracas to be an attempt, attempt on the man's life.
The press release was not ambiguous. He was saying it authority.
And he was not there. Yeah. He was not there. At least the people who were there that I spoke with said he was not there.
Everybody that saw it was so sure that that's what happened. Now today we all have eggs in our faces.
Yes.
This is unfortunate.
I'm embarrassed because I also saw at TVC we scrolled it.
It's unfortunate, but we live and learn, as I say.
It is well.
All right, we'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV Station of the Year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Journalist Hangout, and we're reaching you live from TVC News here in our headquarters, Lagos, Nigeria. I still have Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Gani Kayode Balogun in the studio. It is the end of the road for Senator Smart Adeyemi's desire to contest the November 11 governorship election in Kogi State. The Supreme Court has dismissed an appeal filed by Senator Adeyemi against the judgment of two lower courts of the primary election of the All Progressive Congress (APC) in the states, which produced Usman Ododo as the party's flag bearer on the 15th of April. In an unanimous judgment, the Apex Court held that the Court of Appeal lacked merit, having failed to challenge the concurrent findings of both the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal, or demonstrates the same were preserved. Judy, when I went through this judgment, I saw it and it was like, wow. He went to the Court of Appeal and he lost, and he contested the primary election. He lost and he appealed it, and this is the final court now. The Supreme Court is saying that no, you can't be the candidate of the party. Yes. And Ododo was awarded 1 million naira as damages.
Cost.
And
the court awarded cost 1 million each to Ododo and the APC. Because, you know, it sued both the candidate and the party. Remember when we discussed this matter the first time, we were just looking at what transpired, why the lower court took the decision that it took. Some of Smart's paid hirelings took to social media to abuse me for merely looking at the facts as stated by the lower court. There was nothing they didn't say. Oh, it's because they gave his father first-class traditional title. As if at the end of the day, more than 300 people were elevated. So if out of 300 traditional rulers, let's say more than 320 or so, my own dad, who trained some of the people working for the governor, including the DG government house, was his student. You are saying that he does not deserve to be elevated or what? Any little thing you say about Kogi, my own state, I can't talk about my state again. They will say it's because they gave his father first class. Meanwhile, these people, they chose to ignore the facts of the matter. That Ododo, INEC supervised the primaries that he emerged from. Yeah. The police were also part of it. They witnessed what happened. They will sign a document to show that, yes,
it wasn't even in the race.
We saw this.
When you are looking at
let's not wait first. Now. Let's do it incrementally. Because you are going to nudge me to say ahead of time what I plan to say. Whether Smart Adeyemi or his people like it or not, Yabelo is today his political father because he roused him from political death. He was dead politically. He could not win an election on his own. There is a video now that's circulating about a journalist hangout edition of like 4 years ago or so. Okay. People posted what I said about Smart and Dino. I will not withdraw what I said. I'm not in the habit of taking back what I said. What I said at that time, it was germane to say it at that time, and I have no regrets. Today, if you ask me the same question, I may not
have the same answers.
Give you the same answer as at that time. But the truth is, Smart, I said something which they twisted. I said, by the nature of our politics, governors are very powerful. Usually when they back a candidate with all they've got, that candidate is likely to win. It was twisted to mean that I said, well, since the governor has chosen that person has to emerge. How do people engage their brains in our country? I was saying the obvious. And I've said before that governors have too much powers in our country. I've criticized a situation in which governors even turn their deputies to spare tire. But at the end of the day, Smart couldn't prove his case. I saw it from the beginning. He couldn't prove his case. Based on what happened at the court of first instance, I knew that this is how it will end. I was just waiting for him like an Ekiti bat. Just waiting that it will be before our eyes that this will happen.
So went all the way to the Supreme Court.
Went all the way to Supreme Court, but at the end of the day,
it was dismissed.
The same man who told us that even if Yabelo brought an enemy of his, that he will work for him. Now Yabelo brought Ododo. Ododo is not even his enemy. Ododo by nature can't hurt a fly, except you don't know him. He doesn't look like an aggressive person. They brought Ododo. There is no record that Smart and Ododo ever had a quarrel. Yet, he refuses to back the person. People who want to be respected in the society honor their word. And you have to be careful
what you say,
what comes out of your mouth. Because any years down the line, they will use it against you. You were saying that at the heat of your friendship with Governor Yabelo.
When they were joined at the hips.
You were saying it. Okay. John Wale now, what you said just after a couple of years, you can't even can't stand by it.
You of the ticket not to go back to the Senate.
If you are strong, defy him and win.
He contested.
That's what we are saying. If you are strong politically,
pick another platform.
Defy him and defeat. Go to a rival party, defeat him in the governorship.
Get another platform.
Why didn't you do that? I've seen people leave. They were not happy with their party. They left their party, went to another party and won. The immediate past governor of Kogi was denied the ticket of PDP. He joined PDP straight from when he left the US. They denied him the ticket. He went to APC.
Some days.
After the primaries of the other party, Atiku Bagudu defeated the candidate of PDP.
Don't forget the man that
Samuel Otom was denied the ticket of PDP. He went to APC and defeated the candidate. Smart Adeyemi should have done that to prove to us that he is not a political.
Fought against the party structure.
Yes, I remember.
Twice. That's how we know politicians who are truly popular.
Accord party.
Twice.
Yeah,
it was denied twice.
That's how we know politicians who are truly
won twice.
Truly strong.
And now he's a member of the Northeast.
Senator Ifeanyi YPP. Only senator of YPP. He has won twice. Under that ticket, yes.
So if you think you have the balls,
yes,
go ahead and prove yourself. Because the problem of people is that our people are saying that when you are angry, do not make promises when you are, do not make threats when you are angry. And do not make promises when you are enjoying certain things. Because you must be circumspect that this will come back and haunt you.
Yes.
One way or the other.
No position is somebody. We still played the last program. And when they said heaven and earth, it was like giving a covenant that's not
publicly
whatever Yaya brings.
That even if he brings my enemy, we are going to
work with you.
At the end of the day, he didn't even bring your enemy. He brought somebody who is not your enemy, but you still refuse to support him. I'm not saying you must support whoever he brings.
And getting to the Supreme Court is what marvels me. These guys are always very optimistic. I don't know. Is it because of money, enough money in the bag?
No, politicians are by nature
lower courts
they
are optimists by nature. You cannot be a politician if you assume you will lose. We have seen cases that are so obvious.
Easily. No. They don't give up.
If there's anywhere else to go after Supreme Court, we'll go.
They will go.
We are in this country now. When somebody took case to Supreme Court and still
after he lost, he still went back.
No, this one
Supreme Court to reverse itself.
This one went to the Supreme Court. Another one took his case to the Supreme Court. I was still calling war press conferences. And you were wondering, is this the same case? You took the Supreme Court.
That's true.
They are still doing war conferences.
That's true.
What exactly are you trying?
How many international journalists?
No, let's call it what they call it.
Talk is cheap.
Let's call them what they call it.
You know, in those days when we talk about World Press Conference,
we know what it means.
Remember the World Press Conference after Buhari took over as head of state. That press conference held in the night.
Everybody was
You remember?
Everybody.
Odafe Otiwa, one of the most famous journalists of his generation. I don't know if he's still alive, you know, of Daily Times in those days. With foreign journalists, they were asking Buhari questions. It was in the night. I was watching it on NTA. That's what you call a world press conference. Because I saw a lot of white faces.
Or even white organizations.
Yes. You know,
Foreign
back then.
organizations.
But anything, just to make it look like something really grand, you call a meeting dominated by your political supporters a world press conference.
And Ireland's.
You know? So what are we talking about?
Nigerians are funny people.
We wish Smart Adeyemi good luck as he navigates what is left of his political career.
No,
But I wanted to ask where again?
He will start
from the Supreme Court.
No, he will start from the...
He will report to God.
All right, finally, it's just one more steps towards resolving the petitions challenging the victory of President Bola Tinubu in the 2023 presidential election. The Supreme Court has reserved judgment in the appeal filed by the presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, and Peter Obi of the Labour Party. At the Supreme Court, Atiku insisted that President Tinubu must be disqualified from the election as he was not constitutionally qualified to contest that election. Meanwhile, the Apex Court dismissed the appeal filed by the Allied People's Movement, APM. Julie, let's start from Allied People's Movement, though. They were contesting the nomination of the vice president, and they faulted it, and they went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court's response today said, this is what we've decided. It's just a waste of our time.
And they were with costs.
You know, until they start disgracing some landed silks in our country, this nonsense will not stop. This nonsense won't stop. Those judges in the Supreme Court, they are now down to 10. Because Justice Datijo, you know, is going to retire on the 27th of this month. Because he's going to retire on the 27th of this month, there is no way that you can put him on any panel at this stage.
So they overstretched.
Because somebody who is living a matter of days, today is 23rd. You can't put him on a panel. That's why when that story came out that, last week, we had a listed Supreme Court justices that will handle this matter, I saw clearly, I knew clearly that this is fake news all over again. By tradition, Supreme Court does not release the names of his panel, the panel to handle a matter until the morning of the matter. Even those judges that the CJN will pick, we not know until the morning. So when I saw some days before, they put people like Ogun Umiju there, you know, I said, these people,
some people are
these
saying
people have lied again.
Themselves that four of
no, the people, they put even this dirty Joe. They put this dirty Joe on the panel. They put dirty Joe on the panel. So I knew that, look, this thing was not true. I was discussing with one of the editors of newspaper, I think MD, and I said, this is a lie, sir. Forget this story. When I now read an account of another paper, I saw that Dirty Joe was not included. I said, you see, who released it? Certainly,
Not
the registrar of the Supreme Court released to the press that on Monday there will be hearing. Nobody released the list of judges to sit on the panel. What Nigerians will cause with fake news and the irresponsibility of people, a lot of people on social media,
just want to burn the country.
Only God will save us. Because they don't do that. It's not their tradition. So let's move away from there.
Yeah.
Now, APM. The Supreme Court ruled on May 28th this year that Shettima, the vice president, was validly nominated
by the party.
I was surprised that in spite of that,
They went to the tribunal.
Peter Obi's lawyers it was one of the main grounds
cornerstones of this case,
upon which they were contesting the victory of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the Presidential Election Petitions Court. Normally, since the matter has been decided, it shouldn't have been included in your prayers before the court. But of course, that is their maybe since they don't have so much, they don't have tons of evidence in spite of the assurances. They have to look for
straws,
technicalities. We can't find enough evidence that he didn't win the election. Let's go for.
Let's just throw the thing. Maybe
what Atiku is doing today, before this same Supreme Court, is an attempt to still use technicality, not facts that transpired on election day, to kick Tinubu out of office. APM, despite seeing that the Supreme Court had decided on the matter, still wanted the Supreme Court to review its own matter and rule on a matter that it had decided. I don't think I know any country where people are this rascally
abuse the court
in the judicial process.
I think that's why they withdrew the case.
No, they didn't withdraw the case. The Supreme Court judges told them
frontally
to go ahead and withdraw it. The Supreme Court, sometimes if you are pushing a matter,
it doesn't make sense.
To them, they know that you don't have a case. As you are standing before them, they can tell you, withdraw this matter.
Gross.
So when you withdraw it, they will now proceed to formally dismiss it. That's what happened. It's not as if it came, they decided on their own to withdraw. No, they were told that, okay, what are you even here for? You can't ask for something without an end. If, for example, if we say now that you want this matter, what do you want to do?
How do we answer your
You want
prayers?
to become president?
How do we answer your prayers?
You want to become president?
As their candidates.
Okoro DSC, who is the leader of the panel, he made that point that, look, you can't come before us without a real goal in mind. What is your goal? Because if you are talking about the parties that can become president, you know, APM can
just want to be a stumbling.
So at the end of the day, they tell, okay, this matter,
they're wasting our time.
Withdraw it. They withdrew it. The Supreme Court now proceeded to formally dismiss it. That's what happened. Even when two parties like you and I, if we have a matter
in front of the justice,
and we decided that, okay, we wanted to withdraw the matter, we will approach the court, say, okay, we want to withdraw this matter. Once we have taken all the steps towards that, the court will now proceed to dismiss.
Okay.
So that's what happened.
All right. We take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk about the prayers of Atiku Abubakar at the Supreme Court today.
Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, cordially invites the general public to this year's Digital Nigeria Conference, Exhibition and Awards with the theme, Harnessing Digital Technologies for Job Creation, Inclusive Economic Growth and Sustainability. The event, which will have discussions centered around sub-themes like emerging technologies, blockchain, metaverse, AI, GovTech, Innovation Challenge, Consumer Tech, Creative Economy and others, is scheduled to hold as follows. Date 24th to 26th October 2023, time 9 a.m. daily. Venue International Conference Center, ICC, Abuja. For more details, please log on to www.digitalnigeria.gov.ng. Announcer Kashifu Yunwa Abdullahi, CCIE, DG and CEO NIDA.
In today's world, our lifestyle, both at work and at play, depends on connectivity. Our connectivity depends on the devices that make it possible, and these devices depend on electric power. When power fails, our life shrinks, our work drops, and our joy dips. JRB Solar Energy Systems are here to ensure that we enjoy uninterruptible power, uninterruptible joy. Whether you're running a business, an institution, or just a home you return daily to rest, JRB has got you covered. No project is too big for our super digital inverters, long-lasting batteries, and efficient solar panels. Go, Dream on. Change your world. JRB solar inverters, batteries, solar panels, solar streetlights and more. Telephone 0906 752 1111. Email sales@jrbsolar.com. With JRB, the sun's gonna shine on everything you do.
For staying with us, Atiku is insisting that President Bola Tinubu must be disqualified, from the election, as he is not constitutionally qualified ab initio to contest the election.
Yes, he said that the president forged his Chicago State University certificate. He lied under oath, and any forger is not fit to be to even contest in the first place. So he now moved on to say, if you will not disqualify him, order the rerun between Tinubu and myself. That's why I pity
you and the forger.
Yes, the same person that you already said is not qualified ab initio. It's like a EJ. That's what Atiku is.
He's throwing things at the wall now. Maybe one will stick.
So he's now saying, if you will not disqualify him, then let the two of us face off. Because in the event of a rerun, the person who came third will not take part. That's what Obi supporters don't know. They don't know what the law says. So Atiku is saying, okay, let us organize a rerun. Let me and him face each other in a rerun. But the court will decide whether the certificate is fake. He has to, I think even the judge said it, the presiding judge, Okoro JSC, he asked Chris Uche why he wants to introduce a fresh evidence after the expiration of 180 days statutorily provided for filing, trial, and determination of election petitions. So he wanted, why do you want the Apex Court to brush aside constitutional provision to entertain
to accommodate your...
Brush aside
constitutional provision, because it's clear.
There's no ambiguity.
It's clear. So
that means number be a stumbling block.
So,
as in that constitutional provision is...
It is clear that there is a time frame.
That has passed.
Yes, for fresh evidence. But they are thinking that in the exercise of his wide-ranging powers, the Supreme Court can still entertain. That is for those justices to decide. But if they follow the law strictly,
it's a no-no.
The time is gone. That's what Hot Kid and Pokoli, that song, Otilo. You know that song? That's a Otilo. You don't go. No traces. That song. Yes, Otilo. That's what Pokoli and Hot Kid. That's what it's now. Otilo.
No, it's like throwing water.
Time frame.
It's like
all of these cases have time frame provided by the Electoral Act.
Like throwing water after ice water. You're only throwing water to nothing.
But even lawyers are divided over these things. Like
let the lawyers will always be divided on this matter. Were they not divided over 25%?
Have you noticed how quiet everybody became?
Were they not divided? Even very senior lawyers that we know in their hearts they know the truth. But they were divided.
Whatever will fill your pockets.
A lot of things influence, sometimes religion, ethnicity, will sometimes influence
economy.
Was it not here that a lawyer abused you, accused you of being a thief who takes money from politicians? Just because we came here and said, look, this matter is dead on arrival. Were we not vindicated?
At the end of the day.
Have you and I, have we ever gone to law school? Did we go to law school?
On the Abia case.
So these things happen. If it could happen at that time, do you think I'm surprised that something that is self-evident, a lawyer will say, no, this is what... He knows that the politician will bring money. The Nigerian politician is the most optimistic set of human beings that you ever find.
Losing is never in their...
I was listening to a lawyer yesterday and he was saying that what Atiku is asking for is like for the Supreme Court to use what we can call like doctrine of necessity, something that is not in the book, but just...
But because it's me.
Wave aside this thing.
Put it aside, it's me now, you know now. It's me, put it there. It's basically, I don't want to call it...
Him, as in who?
As in Atiku Abubakar, the Waziri, or is it Siddiq Abubakar?
Okay.
I just know it's an Abubakar there.
There is Siddiq, there is Sadiq, there is Kojoli or something. Another.
Just so that Atiku will not accuse you also of abusing me.
No, because sometimes it's like a child coming to the father and telling him that, my mother is your wife, but she's still my mother. So that gives me certain privileges. The wife came before she became your mother now. So your father has absolute rights. But what Atiku is asking for is that...
even the judges saw what they were saying again about social media.
Yeah. Yes, for the
panel.
Even Smart, they accuse Smart of going
on TV
to
go and saying
things that should not say.
Yes. And the beauty of it is that the Supreme Court is not a long process at all.
No. By November 6th, this judgment must happen.
Yeah.
By November 6th.
First week in November.
Wow.
And they want to give it ahead of the terminal date. So they will now tell you that, okay, we will come back and explain our...
Atiku Abubakar, Bola Tinubu...
They will know their fate.
They will know if...
Latest November 6th.
Wow.
They will know their fate.
The thing is done. And it's done. So there's nothing...
No, it's not done.
No, I'm not talking about the result. I'm talking about the process.
The terminal date is 6th.
Final judgment. So we'll now come here to review that judgment.
Of course. I'm always available. I'm at your service. I'm at your service.
I want to thank you.
There's even award cost. There's award cost in favor of some of us. Because they cause us to talk too much about things that are said.
We have been bashed
on this.
They can't intimidate the judges with social media. The point they made today is clear. Judgment.
That signal.
Don't intimidate us. You are wasting your time. All eyes on the judiciary. If you like, open your eyes wide on the judiciary. You talk more light cigar. You talk more light cigar.
And that's our offering today. Join us again tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. Join us this Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for journalist hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzbak. We'll see you tomorrow.
Calling Bastion HMO.
Thank you. Now that was my health insurance partner. Yeah, I was just as skeptical as you were about health insurance until I tried Bastion HMO. I got a healthcare plan that's right for me and my family. I have access to top quality healthcare services and facilities. We also get access to over 1,700 hospitals and clinics. Call 0800 Bastion, Bastion Health, the HMO that puts you in control.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Are you worried about the safety and security of your home at night? Do you wish to know when intruders come close to your home? Or do you want to protect what matters to your family from anywhere at any time? What if there was a convenient, affordable way to keep surveillance in your home without having to worry about wires, installations, or heavy light bills? Introducing the incredible Sidebulb HD Cam, the robotic 360-degree two-way torque camera with action tracking technology. Sidebulb is the ultimate solution for discreet and powerful surveillance. It's so easy to install, and the app lets you rotate and view the video from your Sidebulb in real time from any smartphone. You can drop in from anywhere and check in with our two-way talk technology. Talk and listen at the same time.
Hello, Mommy.
Hey, sweetie. I'll be home soon, okay?
Sidebulb's advanced tracking technology locks onto motion and tracks in real time. Set the siren alarm to go off when motion is detected and keep intruders away. Check in on your home while you're away. Make sure the kids got home safely. Interact with visitors at your doorway or surprise a trespasser.
Surveillance in a light bulb. I was amazed at the 360-degree rotation. It gives me a full view of my house and I can check in on my kids. The footage is clear and the night vision is so impressive. The best part, I can add multiple sidebulbs for a complete home surveillance.
I really like my sidebulb. It's so easy to use. I just downloaded the app, I put it on my phone, and I add it up and run in about 3 minutes.
Traditional surveillance systems are bulky, expensive, and difficult to install. But with Sidebulb HD Cam's innovative design, installation is as fast as changing a light bulb, and it's made for indoor and outdoor surveillance.
The Sidebulb HD Cam is now available in Nigeria exclusively from ShopX TV. You could be paying up to 200,000 naira for an indoor and outdoor security system that doesn't fully secure your home. But call the number on your screen now and get the Sidebulb HD Cam for just 45,000 naira and get peace of mind. And that's not all. If you call now, we'll give you an extra Sidebulb at no extra cost. That means you buy one and get one free for 45,000 naira. But wait, there's more. If you order now, you get the Sidebulb HD Cam delivered to you for free wherever you are in Nigeria. So, call the number on your screen now or visit our website to place your order while stock lasts. The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
The Shared Prosperity Weekly TV series on TVC News. It is through this telecast the viewers get to know what is happening in the prosperity government of His Excellency Senator Hope Uzodinma, the Executive Governor of Imo State. Through this program, all questions agitating the minds of citizens and residents of Imo State are answered in details with documentary evidence. Don't miss it. Keep a date with us every Sunday on TVC News by 9 p.m.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Thanks for joining us on the program, everyone. You're watching Beyond 100 Days. I am Nifemi Ogutoye. You can join the conversation right now on X, formerly Twitter, using the hashtag Beyond 100 Days. We begin from the United Kingdom this hour, where Nigeria has won the $11 billion PNID case as court quashes the arbitration award against Process and Industrial Development Limited. Another London court earlier issued a $6.6 billion arbitration award against Nigeria. That was in January 2017 after the firm accused the federal government of reneging on an alleged 2010 contract to construct and operate a new gas processing facility in Calabar. But the PNID lawyers argued that the arbitration fee has grown to $11.4 billion on account of interest. In a ruling delivered by email, Justice of the Commercial Courts of England and Wales, Robin Knowles, upheld Nigeria's prayer on the ground that the gas processing contract was obtained by fraud. And President Tinubu has now commended today's judgment by a London court awarding a landmark victory to Nigeria against Process and Industry Development Limited. In a statement by presidential spokesperson Ajuri Ngelale, this landmark judgment proves conclusively that nation-states will no longer be held hostage by economic conspiracies between private firms and corrupt officials who conspire to extort and indebt the very nations they swear to defend and protect, end quote. He says today's victory is not for Nigeria alone, but for Africa and the developing world at large. Now let's bring you updates from the Supreme Court, where the Apex Court has reserved judgment on the appeal filed by the People's Democratic Party and Labour Party challenging the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which affirmed the victory of President Bola Tinubu in the 2023 presidential election. The Allied People's Movement also withdrew its appeal against challenging the election of Mr. President before the 7-member panel led by Justice Inyang Okoro. Atiku Abubakar is seeking to bring fresh evidence to prove his disqualification appeal against President Tinubu. We have details in this report.
Security at the Supreme Court was beefed up for the hearing of the appeal filed by the PDP, Labour Party and APM. This is the first time the Apex Court will be sitting on the case after the Presidential Election Petitions Court delivered judgment on 6 September 2023. The first appeal taken was that of the PDP, where its counsel Chris Uche told the court that they have an interlocutory application. The application is seeking leave of the court to present fresh evidence. This, they say, is pursuant to Section 1371J of the Constitution. The party and its presidential candidate explained in their affidavits why the evidence was not presented at the lower court. They prayed the court to set technicalities aside and look at the substance of the case. A 7-member panel led by Justice Inyang Okoro, as well as a member of the panel, Justice Emmanuel Augim, posed a series of questions to the PDP. In his response, counsel to the PDP held that the laws in the U.S. is different from that in the Commonwealth region. Pursuant to the U.S. court order, a position was taken in which the president was represented by a counsel. He alleged that the deposition confirmed that the certificate did not emanate from the school. On his part, counsel to INEC prayed the court to dismiss the appeal. Counsel to the president told the court that a counter affidavit has been filed, urging the court to dismiss the application. He noted that the deposition of the registrar of the school is not admissible, as the deposition is dormant until the deponent comes to court to adopt it. Counsel to the APC adopted the submissions of counsel to the president. The court subsequently reserved judgment. The court also reserved judgment on the appeal filed by the Labour Party, saying a date for judgment will be communicated to parties. The court, however, dismissed the appeal filed by the Allied People's Movement for being frivolous. In a unanimous decision, the court held that it is not bound to hear every appeal, as issues raised by the appellant have been resolved by the court. The Supreme Court is not set up for academic exercise. Counsel to the APM subsequently withdrew the appeal, and it was accordingly dismissed. The Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, alongside the National Security Advisor Nuhu Rubadu, National Chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, and the National Secretary of the APC, Ajibola Bashiru, were in court to observe the day's proceedings.
Proceedings are very, very challenging because all the contendants who wanted to claim certain issues, they did it very well. And at the same time, those who are defending did it very well. And judgment has been will be fixed later on, but I think we are the winners.
Justice Inyang Okoro noted that it is wrong to file an appeal when the appellants will not benefit from the judgment. He says the appellant ought to have gotten the hint from the judgment delivered by the Supreme Court in the case of the PDP, versus the Vice President, where the court settled all issues relating to placeholder or double nomination. Celestina Iria, TVC News, Abuja.
To better understand what happened at the Apex Court today, I'm joined by former chairman of the NBA SPIDEL, that's the NBA section on Public Interest and Development Law, Monday Ubani. Thank you for joining us on the program, Mr. Ubani.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not hearing you very well. The voice is a bit low.
All right. I'll try to raise my volume from here. Hope we can kickstart the conversation. Help us understand what happens when the Supreme Court reserves judgment on a case like this.
Yeah, what has happened today is that the Supreme Court took both the motion for the admissibility of fresh evidence and the opposition thereof, and then the main appeal, substantive appeal. The councils adopted all their briefs, and so the court has reserved judgment. When you reserve a judgment, it means that you have adjourned that particular case to a later date when judgment will fully be delivered by the Supreme Court over what has brought the parties to the Supreme Court.
Is there a time frame within, a time frame by law within which the Supreme Court has to make public its judgment in this regard?
Yes, having reserved the judgment, I'm very, very sure that the Supreme Court will take into consideration the number of days that is required for them to conclude the appeal that have been filed after the decision of the lower court. The Supreme Court has 60 days within which to deliver judgment after this matter has come before it. 60 days include the time the appeal was filed. You have 60 days within which to resolve all the issues before the Supreme Court. So 60 days include the time of filing, the time of adoption, and then the time of judgment. So all must be done within the period of 60 days, which is 2 months. That is what I know that the Supreme Court will do. So they must take that into consideration. So between the time the appeal was filed and the time judgment will be delivered, all must be done within 60 days.
So it sounds like the next time we're hearing from the Supreme Court, it will be the final judgment on this matter. Is that right?
That is actually the correct position. That will bring to end the electoral process of 2023. You know that in our electoral jurisprudence, the court has the final say with the issue of validation of a candidate's fortune within the electoral system. Now we have done the voting, we have done the announcement. Some people who feel aggrieved have gone to court, from the lower court now to the Supreme Court, which is the final court, to determine this issue and put this electoral process of 2023 to an end, so that everyone will have an rest and know that we have finally come to an end with the journey we started 2 or 3 years ago with our electoral process.
We'll talk about what you think of the time frame later on, but also joining us on the program is the former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Kwara State, Salman Jawando, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you for joining us on the program this evening. I'm sure you followed the proceedings earlier. Do you think the Apex Court was clear on its admittance or otherwise of the fresh evidence brought in by the PDP and its candidate? Mr. Jawando, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yes, I'm asking if it's clear what the Supreme Court's decision was earlier today on PDP's fresh evidence.
Oh, you see, the decision will have to be delivered along with the judgment in the substantive case. So there's no decision yet in respect of the application to adduce fresh evidence. The only thing that happened is that the Supreme Court called attention of counsel to the feasibility or possibility of doing what they are asking the court to do, having regard to the limitation of time. Because once a matter, for example, the lower court had 180 days to decide the case on the merit, and that includes the kind of evidence you want to adduce. Now that the evidence was not adduced at the lower court, The presiding Justice Okoro, was now asking, is it possible for them to now admit this evidence at this stage when the lower court is no longer in a position to admit and act on such evidence? So these are the issues, legal issues that they asked them. And I think that is a pointer to the fact that the application is dead on arrival.
So when you say dead on arrival, it was clear from the PDP council that the evidence they needed to tender wasn't made ready as at the time that the Court of Appeal had the presidential election petition court.
Of course. That's why they filed the application in the first instance. But incidentally, the application is brought pursuant to a provision of the rules of the court that allows the court to take, that's the appellate court, to receive fresh evidence. But this is a rule of court versus the constitutional provision that says a case must be heard and determined within 180 days by the trial court. So, and when you have such a situation, the constitutional provision takes precedence.
Mr. Bani, do you agree with the senior advocate as to whether or not there are other conditions within which the Apex Court can admit new evidence, particularly when you consider the peculiarity of this case?
Well, I still maintain my position that really do appellate court admit what you call fresh evidence. It's only on exceptional ground they do that. And they do that when you can prove to them that at the time you file the case at the lower court, that piece of evidence was not available. And it's also issue of justice of the case must also be taken into consideration. Now, if that evidence, piece of evidence should have been gotten by you by sheer diligence, but you are unable to at the lower court, and you now want the court to admit it as fresh, you have to pass the hurdle of proving to them or showing to them why that piece of evidence was not able to be obtained by you before you file the case at the lower court. It's not something that is done, that can be done easily. As I say, the appellate court reviews decision of the lower court. That's what it does. It does not in any way evaluate evidence and begin to take witness evidence or oral evidence, from witnesses and begin to evaluate. That is the primary responsibility of the lower court. Theirs is to review decision that has already been taken. But the moment you are now bringing fresh evidence, then you have to comply with all the rules of fresh evidence, including cross-examination. Would that happen in this case? I don't think so. And it's something that, as I said earlier, the opposition will bring their counter, and the court now will consider it based on issue of justice and equity. We look at it and deliver decision judicially and judiciously. Judicially in accordance with the law, judiciously in accordance with equity and justice. So, and then the fairness of it all. So the court will take into consideration all that. And let's watch and see what the Supreme Court will do when they deliver their ruling and then their judgment on the substantive appeal. So we always, I can't make any categorical statement based on what has transpired today that the Supreme Court has made up their mind that it will not. But the point is, they really do. And if they do, it must show them evidence of exceptional ground why they must at this point, admit fresh evidence.
How much of a precedent will this be for, our electoral litigations going forward, seeing how this has played out?
Are you asking me or my listener?
Oh, I'm still with you, Mr. Ubani.
Okay, it's going to be a very great jurisprudence that we are going to establish, with this particular case, especially with the admissibility of fresh evidence in electoral process. I think this is the first one I've heard where fresh evidence is being adduced in an presidential election like this. And of course, that evidence was gotten not in Nigeria, but from a foreign country. And so all the processes will be looked into. So it's going to be a great jurisprudence, if at all it will be admitted, or it will not be admitted. So either way, it establishes jurisprudence. And then even the other grounds of appeal, there are many issues that the Supreme Court have to resolve. The issue of whether when you file your case and you do not front load the evidence of a subpoenaed witness, whether that has offended the rules of the Electoral Act and then even the rules guiding the electoral process and all that. That again will be rekindled. There are so many issues. The issue of 1/3 of, is it 2/3 now of Abuja and all that will also be established. There are many jurisprudence. There are many issues that this appeal will resolve, for us as lawyers, and even for judges in the country and those who handle electoral disputes. So it's going to be a great one for us as a nation. And within some days, that matter will come to an end, and all of us are looking forward to it.
Senior Advocate, a few questions were asked, posed to the Council of the PDP by the justices of the Supreme Court earlier today, one of which is asking which of the provisions of the law should guide the court, the provisions of the Electoral Act or the Constitution, and the justices even ask if they should act arbitrarily. What would think the Constitution should take precedence here? Correct me if I'm wrong, Senior Advocate.
Well, I think the Constitution will take precedence. It's even the common sense, because the Constitution is the ground now, and where there's any conflict between the provision of the Constitution and any other law, the provision of the Constitution prevails to the extent of inconsistency. So it is the provision of the Constitution that will take precedence and will be applied. It's quite unfortunate that this is an election petition where you have time frame. It will have been more interesting if it were ordinary case, when you are talking of bringing foreign fresh evidence from foreign country. But the constitutional provision here has limited the power of the court, and the court cannot extend, it cannot elongate, neither can it expound the time limit granted by the Constitution.
So it will sound like you are saying, as it is, the court is limited here, and it cannot even probe the substance of the matter.
Of course, once the court does not have, you see, for example, now, the question you ask is that whether the trial court, that is the Court of Appeal, which serves as the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, does it still have the jurisdiction to take the evidence as of today? If it does not have, then the appellate court, that's the Supreme Court, will not have. If it has, the Supreme Court will have. Now, 180 days are expired. So the trial court does not have that jurisdiction. So also, the Supreme Court will not have. Like I said, it's quite unfortunate that this is an election petition, which it was ordinary case, ordinary civil case, where there's no time limit, but for the trial court and the appellate court.
So let's talk about the time limit, because I know that a lot of review was done to make it as short as we now experience it. But this is the 8th month after the February presidential election. What's the world best standard? Are we on time or running against time where this presidential election petition is concerned? Senior Advocate.
You see, the termination of election petition, I think before the various amendment that now culminated in 180 days for trial, 60 days for appeal, that is from the date of judgment, 180 days for trial from the date of filing of the petition. We have had so many instances of delay where you even have election petition being tried for almost 3 years. So we have come from a stage to the level we are now. Now, the next thing is that, is it possible to have a situation where petitions should be determined before the swearing? That has been the argument of people. And if I believe it is possible, the only thing we have to do is to adjust our election timetable so that election will be conducted, say, for example, a year before the swearing, so that the petitions will be disposed of before the swearing of the elected person. So it's a question of adjusting, because for now, when you have 180 days to try a petition, it is already itself killing in terms of load of work that the justices will have to do, the lawyers will have to do. So, and when you have 60 days between delivery of judgment, and that is from the date of the judgment is delivered, you have 21 days to appeal, to do record 10 days, brief 7 days for the appellant, 5 days for the respondent, another 2 days for the appellant to file reply brief. You see that this thing is choked up. The time frame is choked up so that both the lawyers involved and the justices are not, they are being worked, they are being overworked. So what I will confess, which I think should be the best now, instead of tampering with the time frame for hearing and determination of election petitions that are appeal arising therefrom is to adjust our election timetable. Let's have our election, say, 1 year or 1 year, 6 months before the swearing, so that we will be able to conclude all the petitions before the swearing of the winner.
It's a very huge recommendation you are making. Mr. Obani, the senior advocate, is recommending that we have election 1 year before swearing in. But let's talk about what more can be done to fine-tune our electoral process within the framework of the Electoral Act. The senators just got back from a 2-day retreat, and they are making some huge suggestions in that regard. They are suggesting the unbundling of INEC and even electronic voting. What more do you think we can better fine-tune with our electoral law, seeing how this is playing out?
Well, I think the first thing we have to fine-tune is to fine-tune ourselves. I do not believe that. I know that there's no system that is perfect, so we don't even have a perfect system in place. But you can have a deficient system if you have perfect operation of it by the those who are implementing it, the characters on the field. The thing will be perfect within the context of human being. So what we have to do first is to try as much as possible to perfect ourselves in terms of conduct, the way we conduct ourselves when it comes to the issue of elections. And it takes you to tango. If the politicians are ready to play by the rules, you already have an electoral act and the constitution that is sufficient to regulate the situation so that we can have fine and credible elections.
I hear you, Senior Advocate.
Then,
let me jump in very quickly. Well,
so we have to.
We're running out of time.
So what I'm saying is that the first part of call is ourselves, Nigerians, especially the politicians, and then the characters that are also involved in election, the INEC, the security operatives, and the supporters of the politicians. It is we that we need to first of all fine-tune ourselves.
All right. Mr. Obani, let me hear your thoughts as regards what more fixing the Electoral Act needs, seeing how the proceeding is playing out after the 2023 election.
The current jurisprudence with our electoral process is that much burden is placed upon the petitioner. Now, I was a participant in the retreat of the senators at Uyo, where this issue was reviewed. And it was agreed that we may have to probably begin to look at the burden of proof. There are instances where INEC will be the one that the burden should actually shift to in order to prove that they conducted the election in accordance with the Electoral Act. There may be instances where the respondent who has been declared winner may also share in the issue of burden. And then there are instances where the petitioner will have to be the one to prove, especially where he alleges a crime and all that. So we must begin to look at that issue of jurisprudence in that regard to really lift the burden that is so much heavy on the petitioner in proving electoral cases. You know, that is one. Then secondly, we also have to look at the law. We don't have to call all the witnesses from all over. Let's say a presidential election where you have how many polling units in the country. You now have to bring all the polling unit agents to come and give evidence. That is practically impossible. Section 137 of the Electoral Act that actually bring an innovation that where you have document that is satisfied by INEC, that the court should go ahead and rely on that document and not begin to ask for oral evidence because they call it, oh, you have just dumped the document on the court and all that. We must begin to look at documentary evidence and not necessarily insisting on calling witnesses to come and give evidence. That again will reduce the number of days we use in proving electoral cases and all that. There are so many things we need to do. Okay. And then as he has rightly pointed out, we must ensure that we must finish our electoral process in terms of adjudication before any candidate is sworn in. The moment you swear in any person, especially the president, I tell you this, other considerations come in. Issue of money you are going to waste to ask for a new election. Issue that the man is in power and has put government in place, and you now say you want to invalidate the electoral process. It's impossible. So let's try as much as possible to end all the processes, you know, before you swear in any person, any candidate, whether governor or president and all that. It's one thing we can achieve, and we can achieve it if we tinker with the law and look at our attitude also, which is
right.
also very important, and make sure that within few months, and they reduce the burden of bringing witnesses. That is always the issue.
I'm afraid
The number
that's
of
our
witnesses you
time.
have to bring.
Mr.
Yes.
Obani,
Yes.
we'll return to this conversation subsequently, but we have to go now. A big thank you to the former chairman, MBA Speeder, Monday Obani, and former Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice in Kwara State, Salman Jawondo, a senior advocate of Nigeria. Gentlemen, thank you so much for talking to us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
By the way, the Supreme Court has dismissed an appeal filed by Smart Adeyemi against the judgment of the two lower courts on the APC primary election, which held in Kogi State on 15 April. The Apex Court in a unanimous judgment held that the appeal lacked merit, having failed to challenge the concurrent findings of both the Federal High Court and that of the Court of Appeal, or demonstrate the same were perverse. The Apex Court also held that the two issues raised in the appellant's brief were unreasonable, vexatious, not triable, and against the provision of Section 132 and 133 subsection 1. Recall that Senator Adeyemi was with me on the program last week while we were discussing issues ahead of this Supreme Court judgment. That's our program this evening, everyone. Thanks for being a part of it. You can watch it again at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. See you again soon.
Presentation by ShopX TV. Do you struggle with having an active and healthy lifestyle due to your busy schedule? Do you find it's difficult to make it to the gym? You want to improve your overall health, but don't know where and how to start? Medical experts agree that walking, running, and jogging are amongst the best ways to stay fit and enjoy a great active and healthy lifestyle. What if there was a convenient and affordable way to improve your health, improve your mood, and lose weight right in your own home? Introducing the SportX Digital Compact Treadmill, the compact foldable treadmill that makes being active and losing weight fast and easy. Just unfold it and walk, jog, or run while you watch your favorite programs on TV. And when you're done, just fold it and store it away. Now that's convenience. The secret is its advanced design that houses a 1-horsepower motor that is twice the size of most treadmills, packed into a nice compact unit, powering every step you take. You get the SportX Digital Compact Treadmill System complete with a rugged commercial-grade ultra-durable traction belt, large LCD multifunctional display that displays speed, time, distance, calories, and has 12 different exercise programs, as well as a magnetic safety key for added security.
The SportX treadmill has really helped me get back in shape after childbirth. I love it because it's compact and can fit anywhere in the house. And when I'm done, I fold and put it away. Easy peasy.
This is the best piece of equipment for people like me who want to stay active without leaving the home. I simply unfold it and use it while I watch my favorite program on TV.
Joining the gym can cost an absolute fortune, and you could be paying up to 600,000 naira in annual gym fees. Get the SportX treadmill to save the cost and work out from the convenience of your home. You could pay 500,000 naira for a treadmill like this, but you can get the SportX treadmill for not 400,000 naira, not even 300,000 naira. Order right now and get this for just 294,500 naira only. But wait, there's more. If you order now, you get the SportX Digital Compact Treadmill delivered to you for free, wherever you are in Nigeria. The SportX Compact Digital Treadmill comes with ShopX 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied with the treadmill, send it back for a full refund. But hurry, limited stock available. So, call the number on your screen now or visit our website to place your order while stock lasts. The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking it.
It's a pleasure to welcome you to this edition of NAFDAC and Your Health, where we bring you the activities of NAFDAC, the agency that has the mandate to safeguard the health of the nation. I am your regular host, Amanda Ugo. Today's edition of NAFDAC and Your Health focuses on the efforts of NAFDAC under the leadership of Professor Mojisola Adeyeye at building local production, particularly drug production, and ensuring drug security and self-sufficiency. This edition will also bring to your viewing all that happened at a 3-day workshop on local drug production and the production of active pharmaceutical ingredients and excipients, which took place in Lagos recently. The current Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, has since the inception of her headship of the regulatory agency striven to make Nigeria self-sufficient in terms of food and drug production. In addition to this, she also has the vision to entrench food and drug security in the country. This has seen her putting in place policies and adopting strategies. Part of this is the 5+5 policy, and today, to a great extent, the Director General's dream has come to fruition and exponential progress continues to be made in this regard by the day, particularly on drug security.
What we are seeing now is the thought and efforts of NAFDAC that are now yielding fruit, and it's the beginning. Because we were strengthening ourselves and strengthening the industry, we now have the first company in the whole of West Africa and Central Africa to have a pre-qualified product.
The determination of Professor Mojisola Adeyeye led NAFDAC management team to further improve on local drug manufacturing as a step towards enhancing drug security and making Nigeria self-sufficient in terms of drug has seen the agency collaborating with relevant stakeholders and harnessing resources. It is one of such efforts that brought about the recently held 3-day workshop on local manufacturing of active pharmaceutical ingredients. The workshop, organized by NAFDAC and sponsored by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, was held between the 3rd and 6th of October 2023 at Marriott Hotel, Ikeja, Lagos State.
We have grown together, both the manufacturers and the regulators, and we are still growing because our goal is to make sure that the products we make in Nigeria can be traded globally, and you cannot trade what is not of quality. You cannot trade when you don't have international standards built into the development. So that is why we're here today.
The Director General went on to talk about the significance of APIs and excipients and how the ink of these ingredients could wreak havoc globally.
Active pharmaceutical ingredients and excipients. We may think that excipients are innocuous and just non-active ingredients. No. They are as important as the active ingredients. And they may even kill faster than the medicines, because most formulations have up to 80–90%
of non-active ingredients or excipients in the formulation. And we are witnesses to the horrors that are happening all over the world with the so-called children's syrup that have killed hundreds of children in Gambia, 66, in Cameroon, about 22, Uzbekistan, maybe over 200, Indonesia, the same, and it's still counting. Diethylene glycol is a non-active ingredient. I will not call it excipient because it's not meant to be part of a formulation, any formulation actually. So that is why we are here to sensitize us.
Present at the workshop were the Coordinating Minister of Health, Professor Ali Mohammed Pate, who was ably represented by pharmacist Oderinde, the Chairman, House Committee on Food and Drugs, Federal House of Representatives, Honorable Mrs. Regina Akume, ably represented by Right Honorable Udu Obiajulo, the Special Assistant to the President on Health, Hajia Salma Anas, scholars from the academia, and experts on APIs. Delivering his keynote address through his representative, the Coordinating Minister of Health, Professor Ali Pate, stated that his objectives aligns with the objectives of NAFDAC.
First, let me congratulate the DG, Professor Christiana Mojisola Adeyeye, and the entire staff of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, for always being a beacon of hope that our beloved country can get things right and match the global community in attaining global best practices, especially when it comes to the provision of quality healthcare services to the people. I believe by now you are well acquainted with my priority objectives, which are health security, where we hope to ensure that in disease outbreaks or epidemics, Nigeria is prepared and able to effectively respond and minimize humanitarian crises. Medical industrialization, which is the value chain of the sector, given that 70% of the nation's pharmaceuticals are imported from countries that are just like Nigeria, while Nigeria does not produce any. Improvement of population health outcomes, so that diseases such as diphtheria, measles, vaccine-preventable diseases, and maternal and child health will be reduced to the barest minimum. Improve the quality of governance and leadership of hospitals. Therefore, it is clear from the foregoing that this workshop, which is well aligned with my priority objectives, could not have come at a better time. Under my watch at the helm of affairs in the ministry, you are guaranteed maximum support to facilitate the effective and efficient regulation and control of the manufacture, importation, exportation, distribution, advertisement, sale and use of food, drugs, cosmetics, chemicals, detergents, medical devices and packaged water, all collectively known as regulated products. The ministry will also be committed to ensuring that NAFDAC becomes a regulatory institution that has capacity to protect and promote the public health.
The minister also added that Ministry of Health is ready to support NAFDAC to ensure the agency attains maturity level 4. The program has been NAFDAC and Your Health. Please do not go away. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. Let's go on to the next feature on this edition of the program. Different presentations were made at the workshop on local manufacturing of API and excipients. Opening the session for presentations was the DG of NAFDAC herself, with the presentation titled Understanding active pharmaceutical ingredients and excipients, the overview of regulatory guidelines.
In terms of factors that are critical to product quality during pharmaceutical development, that must be determined and controlled to minimize risks. Whatever you are doing, you have risks, but how do you minimize risks when you are developing a product? You have to think of the drug substances. If it is a combination product or the drug substance, you have to think of the excipients. As a professor, I'm very curious. I want to know why and why and why. And that's what it takes to build quality into a system. So, drug substance, you must be very familiar with it, the characteristics, excipient, container closure systems, manufacturing processes. And then you have to know how to assess the variation of these parameters as far as making sure that quality is built into the system. Proper understanding is important. I'm going to go through just drug substance and excipient because of the focus of the meeting. Next please. Next please. Understanding APIs and excipients. I will talk a little bit about APIs. Whatever I'm talking about will be just examples. I can teach this, I can give this lecture for about 4 hours, but I have 10 minutes. You've got to be very familiar with the analytical procedure. If you don't know how to build your product assay or your drug product assay development, then there's going to be a problem. You've got to know how to design a formulation. You just don't use empirical methods to design a formulation because that on the long run may not work. You have to learn how to use experimental design. And because formulations go through different processes, you must be very familiar and understand the process technology or process analytical technology. And there are many guidelines, ICH guidelines, that are related to this. I'm just giving examples. ICH Q8 for pharmaceutical development, Q6A for test procedures and acceptance criteria, and so on. Next. So, from drug substance to drug product, chemistry, manufacturing, and controls, you have different ICH Q1 that relates to stability, Q2 analytical validation, Q3 impurity levels, Q7 good manufacturing practice, Q8 pharmaceutical drug development. Everything is geared towards ensuring that the quality is right. Next. When it comes to analytical needs and challenges, because I'm looking at it from the analytical perspective, because once you are able to understand your drug substance and excipient through analytical perspective, you will be okay. You've got to be familiar with routine analytical testing of the API, if it's a simple formulation, or separation of the multiples. If you have fixed dose combination, you've got to know that they have to be well separated.
In her own presentation made through her representative, Honorable Mrs. Regina Akume, the Chairman, House Committee on Food and Drugs, whose presentation was titled "The Legislature and NAFDAC," spoke on the significance of the workshop to the nation in achieving self-sufficiency and pledged efficient legislative policies that will standardize local drug production. The lawmaker rounded off by highlighting the roles of the legislature in ensuring that NAFDAC is able to run smoothly.
NAFDAC, like other government agencies, is funded through the national budget and the internally generated revenue idea. The legislature, particularly the House of Representatives, through the House Committee on Food, and Drug Administration and Control plays a critical role in approving NAFDAC's annual budget. The budget allocation is essential for the agency's day-to-day operations, regulatory activities, and capacity building. Oversight function. The legislature exercises oversight over NAFDAC to ensure that the agency effectively implements its mandate and complies with relevant laws and regulations. This oversight is typically carried out through requests for budget implementation reports and their analysis by the committee. Oversight visits and monitoring of NAFDAC's activities and budget allocation. Review of policies and regulations. The legislature, through the committee, may offer suggestions for a review and, if necessary, amend NAFDAC's Act and its policies and regulations. This is to ensure that the agency's regulatory framework remains up to date and responsive to emerging challenges and technological achievements.
Another presentation titled Things to Know About Manufacturing APIs and Excipients was made by Dr. Patrick Ukuli, founder and president, Technology Solutions for Global Health. Also, Dr. Okiapa, the MD, SUG Pharma and former chairman Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Group of the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, made a presentation titled Achieving Medicine Security in Africa, Imperatives of Local Manufacturing of API. Some members of staff of NAFDAC commented on the workshop and the benefit it has the potentials of bringing.
I would like to first of all appreciate the DG NAFDAC, Professor Mojishola Adeyeye, for this very laudable initiative. You know, over time, we've been hearing about national security, drug security, sustainability, supply chain integrity, you know, all of those buzzwords. So this initiative really will demystify all of these buzzwords. So the idea of starting local manufacture of APIs and excipients is very timely.
This workshop, which has to do with local manufacturing of APIs and excipients, for our local industries, it's a stitch in time. You will agree with me that apparently your drug cannot be effective except you take what we call the active pharmaceutical ingredient. That is what makes your paracetamol act in your body, the ibuprofen, the acetylsalicylic acid in your aspirin. Those are the active pharmaceutical ingredients. But unfortunately for us in this country, most of the APIs, the active pharmaceutical ingredients, are things we've been importing over the years. And you will remember that during COVID, we had scarcity of drugs because these APIs are being imported from India, from China, and they closed their borders to avoid a situation whereby we have another COVID and then we are stranded as a country. That necessitated the need for us to have this kind of workshop and sensitize our local industries that we can do it.
The workshop was also used by NAFDAC as an opportunity to launch the NAFDAC Online Training School. The DG had acknowledged some students who attended the workshop, encouraging them to be focused as they have the potentials to take over key positions in future.
I cannot but recognize my colleague from the university, the dean, Professor Ayola, School of Pharmacy, University of Lagos. Please come. I just mentioned about the past, and the present is why we're here, and the future is our students. All the students, please stand up. All the students that are present, please stand up. Let us be recognized. Okay. We have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, some of them will still come. But thank you very much. Maybe you're going to be DG NAFDAC. Maybe you're going to be MD of any of these companies. You don't know.
As part of the continuous learning, because this workshop we are having today now, or we're having this very week, is not just a one-off workshop. We are going to step it down. And NAFDAC is now going to be in the vanguard of ensuring that these things we have learned here now, we are going to take it out. Because the resource materials and all the slides, everything is available. And we, NAFDAC staff, are also here, who are also very competent and resource persons themselves in their own rights. And so we intended taking this very one out. And that's why we have launched the NAFDAC training school. It's going to start virtually, first of all. Then, as time goes on, we are going to make it in person. So we have had modules, different modules on different aspects of regulatory, of drug development, of API manufacturing, of GMP, and of all sorts of this thing for food, for drug, for chemicals, for all sorts of aspects of our regulatory activities. We have brought a lot of people in, and we have erudite resource, virtually all of them who are members of the committee. They are all PhD holders in various fields in the agency. And so we want to start the NAFDAC online training school now. Within the next 1 or so year, we are going to make it a live training. And people will be coming from all across the world to Nigeria here to study. And I think it's a way of really selling Nigeria, because we have a lot of resources. Because this agency, NAFDAC, we are about 30-something years now since inception, and we have developed so much capacity. Both those who are currently working and those who have even retired, so much capacity, so much information at our disposal in regulatory, all sorts of regulatory of every regulated product. And we have attended so much training, workshop, conferences all over the world. And we want to now begin to cascade this thing down to people who don't have those opportunities. That is why we have this NAFDAC training school. And it's going to be a very